Have you ever noticed that children look similar to their parents, but always with some differences? If you look closely, you'll see that a child is a combination of traits from both their mum and their dad. But how does this happen? What's going on inside each person to create these combinations of features? Although there are a lot of complex things happening inside organisms, today you will learn about inheritance and how we can predict the traits that individuals will possess, and even use them to our advantage. The building block of all life on this planet, including humans, is DNA. Every person has DNA, and these long strings of DNA are the instructions or blueprints of how to create an individual. That's the same for every living organism on the planet. These long strings of DNA exist all coiled up within our chromosomes. If we uncoil these strings, we notice that they are long strings of characters that code for genes within our body. And each gene has the instructions to create different proteins, and these proteins can interact with other proteins to create a particular trait. Most often, our traits, like hair color or your height and weight, are determined by a combination of the expression of lots of different genes working together. This makes things really hard to understand. Sometimes these interactions are really quite simple, and we need only one gene to determine the expression of a trait. For example, our blood type. This is coded by A and B antigen molecules on the surface of the red blood cells, which are made by two different enzymes or proteins. Your blood type will be determined by which combination of these antigen molecules you have. If you have two A antigens, you have an A blood type, and the same rule applies for two B antigens. If you have one A and one B antigen, you'll have the AB blood type, and if you have neither, then you'll have an O blood type. All of this is controlled by a single gene, and these slightly different variations of a gene are called alleles. Let me give you another example. You can think of genes as milk. Just hold on, this will make sense in a second. If milk is a gene, then the different flavors of milk, chocolate, strawberry, banana, or vanilla, are alleles of that gene. Does that make sense? Let's head back to humans for a second. Each of your parents have a certain set of alleles for each gene, which gets passed on to you randomly. Well, mostly randomly, but that's something for another time. Your alleles will thus be a combination of the random alleles that you received from your mother and from your father. We call your unique combination of alleles your genotype, and the resulting traits that you display as a consequence of the expression of these genes is called your phenotype. If we know the genotype of a person, we can do a pretty good job of predicting the phenotype of them and their children. Predicting traits by understanding inheritance has many uses. For example, we have many different breeds of dog, like poodles, labradors, and boxers, all of them created by spending many years selectively breeding parent dogs with specific alleles. We can also create new types of stone fruit and pears by crossing parent plants together to get new combinations of alleles, which could mean tastier fruit. By understanding alleles and genes, we can unlock the secret of DNA and apply it to improve our everyday lives.